Welcome ladies and gentlemen, Tactical Lich here. In this final battle between the Phoenix King and Human Boy yes, we have a classic grudge match. The Warriors of Chaos versus the Empire of Men. Ever Chosen versus the Supreme Patriarch. For the army builds here, Phoenix King as the Warriors of Chaos is going for a full front line of Marauders backed up by Chaos Trolls with armor. Now, this is a hybrid frontline where the Marauders will be clashing into state troops and then using the heavyweight shock damage of the Chaos Trolls to punch through the Empire frontline, and then allowing other units to do their job. For example, over here, the Hell Striders would be great for flanking maneuvers and also just tying down enemy cavalry. And then on the flanks, a bunch of skirmishers here, Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes and regular Marauders. Leading the army, we have Archaon the Ever Chosen. In the middle here, going with only Spirit Leech and the Slayer of Kings, definitely trying to snipe out any enemy single entities. As for the opposite side, Human Boy yes, going for an Empire army with a front line of spears with shields. In the middle, there are a couple great swords for a sturdier backbone for the front line, and then backed up by a whole lot of missiles. 2 archers plus 3 handgunners, one of them the Silver Bullets. They are protected by a bunch of Empire Knights who are also supporting some Outriders who are acting as a bit of a mobility / missile fire pressure hybrid, providing a more mobile and survivable skirmish force. For the Lord Choice, we have Balthasar Gout leading the army from the skies on top of his Quicksilver, already activating Staff of Volan to get a little bit more magic regen. And then on the side we have Searing Doom as well as the Plague of Rust. And that's it for the army builds. Now let's get the battle going. The Phoenix King's combined arms assault is quite straightforward here, stacking Marauders on top of the Chaos Trolls. The infantry will act as a buffer for the Chaos Trolls, who are actually an interesting pick against the Empire. They're not exactly the most popular monster on the Chaos roster, but against Empire, they do have their usage. With their heavy armor at 110, they can mitigate a lot of damage from the non-armor piercing spears and Empire heavy cavalry. And their heavy weapon strength, armor piercing as well, will be dishing out massive damage against the puny men of Empire, against the spears, against the great swords, and even against the Empire Knights. At the same time, the mobility will be positioning themselves and circling the Empire missile box here. Just like wolves circling around their prey, they are poking around with their javelins and throwing axes, trying to tear at the formations of the Empire. And once there is a break or an opening in the defenses, they will exploit that and charge straight in. Now in the front line, melee units are colliding, the Chaos Trolls slamming straight into the Empire infantry. Receiving a very warm welcome of hot lead coming from all those handgunners. They are indeed a monsters and are quite susceptible to concentrated missile fire due to their large hitbox. Plus, that Plague of Rust debuffing their armor, that means they will take even more damage from the non-armor piercing troops, for example archers, but there is not a lot of non-armor piercing troops hitting them right now. Really, it's just the handgunners doing all the damage, repelling the Chaos Trolls, but they have already left a dent in the Empire front line, doing massive damage to all the infantry they've charged, leaving the Marauders to finish the job. Unlike the more elite great swords, the spears simply do not have the leadership to stand their ground. They'll be faltering in the face of a heavy push, leaving a massive gap in the front line, allowing all these Hell Striders to push in, and also the Marauders and Chaos Trolls following closely behind as well. Charging straight for the handgunners, silencing the Empire firepower, and also shutting down the threat against the Stone Trolls. Some Marauder Horsemen has also charged straight in against the handgunners. They have enough melee stats to fight against the Empire missile infantry, but Balthasar Gout is here to save the day, dropping in a Searing Doom, routing the Marauder horses at the cost of a bit of friendly fire. Truly the Supreme Patriarch who doesn't hesitate to send his men to die. Spirit Leech is coming in from Archaon, draining the health of Balthasar, and then also Marauder horses and all these Hell Striders are just left unchecked. The frontline spears have broken as well, allowing all these Marauders and the Chaos Trolls charging straight in, pushing, shutting down all these Silver Bullets and handgunners, and at this point, the Empire missile troops are in shambles. This is where the value of all these Outriders are being showcased, as they do have that speed of 84, allowing them to quickly reposition away from enemy melee threats and start firing again. Now they are focusing onto the Chaos Trolls, using their armor piercing to their advantage here. Archers somehow walking into melee combat against the Chaos Trolls. They're not actually receiving an attacking order. They are trying to shoot at the Chaos Trolls, but the Empire Knights actually blocking their line of sight, forcing the targeting AI to act weird and just walk straight into enemy melee troops. Now on the right flank, the Empire melee frontline is essentially entirely collapsed, with Hellstriders running down unit after unit of Empire missiles, shattering some routed archers, and they'll be moving on to some routing handgunners. Searing Doom coming from Balthasar Geld, bombarding a whole lot of these Hellstriders of Slanesh here, and that equalizes the fight between them and the Empire Knights, and the Empire Knights should have a slightly better time fighting the Slanesh cavalry. But unfortunately though, the Outriders are being pressured away by the Marauder Horsemen due to their lack of 360 firing arc. They'll be essentially taking free damage as they are shot in the back by the Marauder Horsemen, and they cannot return fire. Plus their slower speed at 84 means that they can be caught up by the 90 speed of the Marauder horses, and they will be caught in melee, dragged down by the axes and spears of the Marauders. On the battlefield, there are still some Empire Knights and Spears trying to hold back the horde of Marauders and Chaos Trolls. But unfortunately, Chaos with their mobility advantage is picking off the isolated Empire units one after the other. A Plague of Rust is cast on the Marauders, possibly a miscast right there, as it is definitely better to be cast on the Chaos Trolls. The last of the Great Swords and Empire Knights rushes into this blob hoping to support their comrades, but unfortunately the engaging Empire Knights broke. At the same time, this allows the Hellstriders to slam into their backs, going for an enveloping charge. The last pocket of Empire troops, being outmatched in terms of both quantity and quality, will inevitably break. There are some silver bullets on the far side managed to regroup and fire on the Chaos Trolls once again, but unfortunately there is no melee troops guarding them at all. Geld is also taking damage from the Spirit Leech from Archaon. At this point, the Empire do not have the tools to come back, with their Outriders being chased down by Hellstriders and the Marauder horses. Every Empire unit is either routing or caught in a hopeless combat. We'll be doing a bit of fast forward here as Human Boy Yes Yes will be throwing in the towel. GG well played to both Phoenix King and Human Boy Yes Yes here, and that concludes the final game of the two players, with Phoenix King securing the final victory. For the army performances, the Chaos Troll actually didn't earn back their cost. Instead, you guessed it, it's the Hellstriders that carried most of the damage here, earning back almost double their value on this one unit. The other two also doing some pretty decent damage overall, really disrupting and shutting down those Empire backline, combined with the help of some Marauder horsemen. But the main thing is the Chaos Trolls plus the Marauders occupied a lot of attention and resources from the Empire here, bunker busting the Empire box defenses, creating the openings that the mobility needs to penetrate the Empire defenses and get to the Empire missiles. Archaon also doing some nice damage, not a whole lot of damage there. Unfortunately, he was on foot after all and fighting some great swords. While the Empire here, the handgunners were the ones doing the damage, really shutting down the Chaos Trolls using their armor-piercing firepower. However, the rest of the army wasn't enough to carry the game, as the Great Swords suffered massive casualties from the charge of the Chaos Trolls, while the state troops cannot hold against the Marauders and the monstrous infantry combination. Archers, they don't have that kind of armor piercing to penetrate the Chaos Trolls' hide, so their damage is quite limited unless they're shooting at the Marauder horsemen, who quickly scooted away from their range. While the Outriders, they were great at repositioning and shooting, but once they do not have enough mobility to protect them and allow the horsemen and Hellstriders to catch up, they cannot stay ahead of the much faster Chaos Cavalry and get caught and shut down. As for the Supreme Patriarch, Balthasar Geld, he was very busy this battle, diving into different engagements and dropping Searing Doom left, right and center, bombarding a lot of those Marauder cavalry and some of the Hellstriders as well. But unfortunately, he had no options to deal with the Chaos Trolls other than debuffing them with the Plague of Rust. Personally, I hate playing against Warriors of Chaos the most, simply because they have so many options, all thanks to the Chaos DLC in Game 3. Making their playstyle rather unpredictable other than the staple Hellstriders. For example, in this battle, Phoenix King was able to bring in this monstrous infantry plus regular infantry combo to overload the Empire front line. And that is only one of the many ways you can play as the Chaos Army, especially when they have so many lord choices. Each one dictates a rather different playstyle. This makes them highly unpredictable and hard to counterpick in every battle. Anyways, that's it for today's video and the end of the series of Best of 5 between Human Boy Yes Yes and the Phoenix King. If you want to see more multiplayer action of Total War Warhammer, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading more videos in the future, so do keep an eye out for a new channel update. That's it for today, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Tactical Lich, signing out.